Hey guys, it's Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com, and today we're going to take a look at Sailing by Christopher Cross. Now this is a really cool one. I'm going to show you kind of the way it was recorded on the original recording and the way he kind of does it these days. First of all, we are in open D tuning, so let me work you through that real quick. We're going to have to detune a lot of the strings, 4 of the 6 strings. So what we're going to do is when we get to the end of it, turn the volume up there. When you strum across, it's just a big D major chord. So in order to do that, you can follow on the notes. I'll have this in the description as well. But the low E string is going to be tuned down a whole step to D. All right, so low E down to D. Then the A and the D strings, the 5th and 4th strings, are going to stay the same. So we have D, A, D. Now when you get to the G string, you're going to detune that down a half step to F sharp. So that is what's going to give it that major third of the D major chord. And then we're going to have the open B string tuned down to A. So you're going to tune the B string down a whole step to A. And then the last string we're going to take a look at is string number 1, or the high E string. Tune it down to D as well. So you have D, A, D, then F sharp, A, D. All right, so I'll have that written in the description as well. So let's take a look here. We have a few different sections of the song. Now, the way it was originally played, I believe, was just with a pick. And he would just pick the arpeggiated notes, just like... So we'll take a look at that a little bit later. Now, more recently when I see him play it on acoustic or electric, he'll usually add the root notes to the chords underneath it. So we have the open D underneath the first arpeggio section. And then he'll add that F sharp there. So that's F sharp because it's tuned down to D there. So I'm going to do it with a fingerstyle technique, and so we can add those low notes in there. So, and then we'll go back and I'll talk about, just kind of simplify it a little bit at the end and do it a pick style version. So let's talk about this main intro, which also is the verse of the song. What you're going to do is hold the 2nd fret on both the, I'm going to just call them out as the normal string names, the D and the G string here. All right, so after you end this tuning, so what you're going to do here is the arpeggio pattern. I'll just show you that. We're going to have the open B string with your 2nd finger, or the middle finger, then the G string with your index finger, and then the thumb is going to catch the D string. So do that pattern twice. And then you're going to just pick up the middle finger, or the finger that's on the G string, and then you do the same picking pattern again. So we have this. So you can see I just repeated it there. Now underneath that, to start, hit the low D in there. And then, so only on the very first hit, when you're playing that B string the first time, you're going to hit the 6th string with it as well. And when you repeat, hit the low D again. All right, now what we're going to do is go back to these 2 notes here on the D and the G string of the 2nd fret, but add your pinky at the 4th fret on the 6th string there. So you're going to do the picking pattern once there. So once again, when you start, add the bass note with it. Now as you hold that, what he does is he just bars his index finger. So now he can play the arpeggio pattern on the 2nd fret across the B, G, and the D strings. So we have open B at first, and then you do the bar across those same 3 strings, and repeat. So far we have this. All right, now we go back to starting it with the low D string, that is. And the arpeggio pattern is still in the same 3 strings. It's just going to be across the 2nd fret on the B, G, and the D again. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the 4th finger here on the B and the 3rd finger on the G. So we have this low D in underneath it first. Repeat. And then you can do the exact same thing, except this time the bass note that starts it is going to be the open A string. So all together. Now you might hear some buzzing strings a little bit. My guitar is not set up for this tuning, so with all those strings dropped down so far, it decreases the tension on the neck a lot and kind of causes a lot of buzzing. So now, if you just want to do it like the album, you just pick up, up, down on all those arpeggio notes, and you don't worry. Let your bass player play the bass note. So we just have this. So we have this. We'll do it like this. Now all I was doing was up, up, down, up, 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 down. So up, down for all the arpeggio sections. All right, so you can do that throughout the song because the arpeggio is pretty much the same, but you can just pick them. It's always on these 3 strings. So let's take a look at now. Coming out of this, we have the chorus, a little bit more simplified, but it does have some strums that we can use that we can do as well. So it sounds like this. All right, so that is basically the first part of the chorus is the end of the verse. So it's just that same figure with the A string starting it, the open A, with this arpeggio on top. So you do that twice, and then you go to the first arpeggio pattern played in the verse. All right, pretty simple stuff. So you've seen those 2 before. Now we have those chords. Now there's going to be some funky chord shapes because of the tuning. We're going to go up here to the 9th fret on the low E string or low D string. Then the 9th fret on the A, 7th on the D, and 6th on the G. So you play that, just those 4 bottom strings really. And then take that same shape, which is at the 7th fret here, and move it down to the 2nd fret. Now you can just use the back of your nail since you don't have a pick if you're doing the fingerstyle stuff. And then move it up to the 9th fret. Same exact chord. It's going to play it in all 3 places. And then you go to the end of the chorus is this. You can hit the low D string starting it, so it has a low bass. Low D bass, and then we're going to have the arpeggio picking pattern is going to be the open B, G, and D string. And then you add the 2nd fret on the D and the G with the open B. So we have this. All right. So now we make it to the, it's kind of like a bridge section, because it's almost like a verse, but it's just nothing really changes here with the progression too much. Now what I mean by that is, so this comes after the first chorus. You're gonna just play this arpeggio pattern that we did before, that was at the end, well, it started the chorus. It looks like this. You gotta pick through that 4 times. Just always with A in the bass. Now I'll pick through it 2 more times, except this time with D in the bass, the low D. Then 2 more times with A in the bass. So that's kind of by itself, without the vocals, it sounds kind of odd. But so it's just the A 4 times, D twice, back to A twice, with that same arpeggio the entire time. All right, from there we go back to the chorus, and then coming out of the second chorus, we have a little piano solo and a musical interlude. And the guitar part for that, it sounds really good by itself as kind of a little solo too. And it's pretty much the same chord shape dragged up and down the fretboard, with the same arpeggio pattern too. So it sounds like this. Alright, so some nice changes in there. And for the most part, it uses the same chord shape, just dragged up and down the fretboard with the same arpeggio pattern. We're going to start it a little different though. The way we're going to start it is just with the open A string. That's not the open A. The open A string, and then the 9th fret on the D, and then the 7th fret on the G and the B string, back down to the 7 on the G, and the 9 on the D. So we have this. And then do the arpeggio again. So we have this. Kind of an ascending and descending arpeggio there. All right, and now we get to the chord shape I was talking about. We have bar at the 3rd fret, full bar, and then you're going to play the 5th fret on the D string. So the picking pattern there is the 6th string there, then 4th, then the 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. All right, so from there we just drag it around. Up to the 5th fret, then 1st, back to 3. So we have this so far. Then 3, 5, 1, 3, and here we have this little hammer on. So what we're going to do is we have this 5th fret there on the low D string, and the 2 5s on the D and the G. Hammer on to the 6th fret on the G and the 7th on the D. So I play that, hammer, back to the 6th string, and the 2 middle strings again. All right, now back to this arpeggio pattern. What we're going to do is we're going to move it the same chord shape all the way up to the 10th fret. Now here we pick the bass note, and then we just play that pattern like we did here. But so it's done twice there. And then we start taking the chord shape around again. So this time at the 6th fret, same arpeggio pattern as before. Then up to 8, 3, 5, and then move it up to 7 and do the same that we did here. So all together for that section. Now you might deal with some intonation problems because, you know, our guitars probably aren't going to be set up for this unless you get your guitar set up for this tuning. You might have a little bit of pitchiness here or there, but don't worry about it. So from there we have, just goes back to the verse and the chorus again. Now leaving at the very end of the song, after the chorus, we have this. Let me turn back up. It sounds better that way. Basically the opening arpeggio that we opened the verse with and the intro as well. Just do it 3 times. And then strum the 4 bottom strings. And you are done. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's really cool to play in some different tunings now and then. Kind of really opens up the sound of the guitar, and it can maybe inspire you to kind of do your own thing with it. It definitely sounds cool when you're playing this tune with it. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.